Hello and welcome to episode number 21 of the Marriage Coach Podcast, where we are here to help you take your relationship from surviving to thriving.
Today on the Marriage Coach Podcast, we're going to be discussing the relationship growth cycles that we have experienced in our marriage.
So the three things we want to share with you today that we believe have been vital to our relationship as a husband and a wife. We believe that these three things have been very vital to the growth, to the maturity, and to the advancement of our relationship as a husband and a wife.
These things is not in any particular order, but these are some things as we talked and discussed, that these are some things that we have dealt with throughout our marriage. And we just want to share with you all. So it is what?
Problem solve, purpose seek, and promise keep.
All right, so let's go. Let's go into whichever number one. Let's start at problem solving. Let's go for it.
So if we talk about problem solving, as we lay in bed and we thought about our relationship, because
Right.
this is something that we often do, and to share with the Marriage Coach listeners, we thought about how we got together. So we thought about, what did it do for us? It solved the problem. So problem solving meant that we didn't have to do life alone. We didn't have to go through life experiences alone. We were now a couple. We were now connecting. It's like it's the beginning of the dating process. It's the beginning of getting to know each other.
Right.
Your commonalities, your compatibility, the talking on the phone, the falling in love, the spending time
Right.
together.
And that's what happens in every relationship.
Mhm.
Every relationship, because it's the thing. Every time we get into a new relationship, we get, even before the romance or leading to the romance, is connection.
Yes.
Your connection. You have some common ground. For example, both of us, we both grew up and our families didn't have much.
Right.
We both grew up and we didn't travel much.
Mhm.
So I remember having those conversations in the very beginning of our marriage. Even before I went to the military, I remember we were dating and really learning each other on the intimate way. Some of the things we wanted. We wanted to travel. We wanted to, really, have a better life.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And all these different things, and these are the things that connected us.
Yes.
So there's things that connect us as individuals. I mean, for example, you have boy meets girl. For one thing, in most cases, boy meets girl. The first connection is both of them may be single.
Mhm.
The second thing, you made boy meets girl. Boy was in bad relationship. Girl came out of bad relationship. So that's another connection.
Yes.
So we
The
have all these.
commonality. And these things solve a problem for us. The problem that we may not even know exist, or a problem, or something that we didn't see as a problem. It's just something that is coming together. It's a solution to
Right.
something different.
Right, and I want to get this very clear. This we're not talking about here, because we talked about
Yes,
before
we did.
previous podcasts, and not going into a relationship expecting somebody to fix you or
Right.
expecting somebody to be your God. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about common problems, common situations in relationship, and now we're partnering together to tackle it. Now we're partnering together to try to just really living this life.
Exactly.
Living
Do
this
life
life,
together.
doing life together, having a relationship together, and having new experiences
Absolutely.
together, goals and challenges. I mean, there are challenges
Absolutely.
in life, even from then to now, because it happened when we first started dating. It happened when we first got married. It happened 2 years into our marriage, 5 years into our marriage, 10 years into our marriage, 12, 15, 17, 18, 19, 20 years into our marriage. And now we're 22 years in our marriage. And these three cycles, these
They're
three
still
P's,
going. Yeah.
they keep revolving. They come, it's not one come before the next. It's just a cycle of how the relationship has been working for us. And it's something that we identified, even within our relationship. So even, problem solving is one of them. One of the recent problem solving that we dealt with in our relationship in 22 years is transitioning
Yes,
from
yes.
the corporate world.
Yeah.
This is something that we're in the middle of doing right now.
Mm-hmm.
And there's, we have to solve the problem. We have to solve the problem. The problem is we want to come out
Oh, that's
to
good.
live
That's good.
according to the purpose. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
and that's just something that, I was driven towards, the leadership aspect,
Mm-hmm.
the
Mm-hmm.
spending more time, being able to pastor and being able to coach and being able to lead people, in their lives. And, so, in order for me to do those things, there's a problem. The problem is, the job that I've been working, an awesome job, great
Mm-hmm.
money that I've been working all these years. But it's like, okay, seasons in my life when I had to realize, okay, it's time.
Absolutely. So the problem solving, like you were saying, it's a constant part of the cycle.
Yeah.
So the cycles of our relationship is almost like a washing cycle. Like you wash your jeans the same way over and over and over. So you don't just wash your jeans one time and it's done. You do it over and over and over. And when we say problem, not to, like you said, not to the magnitude of something in you, but something you're going through or something that you're dealing with every day life situations. And the thing that we talked about when we were talking, and I was like, oh my God, that makes so much sense. We didn't have to do these things alone anymore. We didn't have to dream alone anymore. We didn't have to come up with ideas. We both wanted to be better. We both wanted better lives. We both wanted to accomplish more. We both wanted something different. We both wanted to travel. We both wanted to see the world. We both believed that there was something outside of Houston, Texas.
And
we
it
both
was something more than what we've had.
And it was something that we had in common, that there was more, that there was more available to both of us. And then the idea of solving the problem of, wow, we can do even more together. That was awesome. And so it was us connecting. It was our romance. It was us growing and thinking about what we could do in life together.
And you said that, I don't want the audience to miss this. We came together and we had conversations and we fell in love. We had those conversations on the phone. But doing that problem solving, you said something that's very key. We realized what we can accomplish together than away from each other.
Right. Purpose seeking. That's the purpose seek. Yes. That's another part of the cycle, us seeking purpose together.
Okay, let's talk about purpose seeking.
So our relationship allowed us to seek purpose together. We started out, we wanted to travel. The first way for us to do that, the first idea for us to do that was you went into the military. And it's like, okay, I'm going into the military. We're going to get married. We're going to live from post to post. We're going to live from state to state, from country to country. And that's the way we started out. That's the path we started, because we had the idea that our lives had more. Our lives had purpose. Even though back then we wouldn't have called it that, we realized that there was more available to us. There had to be something more than just living in Houston. There had to be something more than staying where we are. There had to be something more than being who we are, or how we was raised for the rest of our lives. And that's not to diminish how we were raised, because our parents did the best that they could for us, and they gave us the best life possible. Our family poured into us to make
That's
us
what made us who we are.
Exactly. I was just getting ready to say that, to make us to be the people. Our families, for me, my aunts and uncles, my mother, my father, my grandmothers, for you, your mom, your dad, your siblings, they pour into you to make it possible for you to see that there's more available for me. And it was a purpose. Our lives had purpose. When we left Houston, we left for a purpose. Like, we're going away to build a life together. We're going away to do something that's never been done before together. We're going away to do something. What are we going to accomplish together? What can we do to benefit each other? What is possible? And we used to talk about these things. And the crazy thing is, now at the ages of 42, we look back and we talk about conversations we had when we were 17, 18, 19, when we had conversations when we were 19, 20, even 21, 22, conversations in our late teens, early 20s about a life that we're living today. a life that we're living today.
Absolutely.
And it was all because
Amazing.
we solved the problem
Amazing.
for each other being together.
Yeah.
And we solved the problem by connecting with our commonalities. And then we sought purpose. Like, what are we able to do together?
Yeah.
What are we able to? As a child, before I even thought about being married or anything, my dream was I'm going to grow up. I'm going to have a child, one child. I'm going to go off to college. I'm going to be a lawyer. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And I'm not a lawyer, but I live a life of purpose. And I thank God for that. And you had ideas and
I
dreams.
want to be a psychologist.
Exactly. And so as we grow together, even though the initial picture of my life changed, once we started to connect and problem solve together, and then we began to seek purpose together, even though that's not what we would have called it then, life changed for us, like in the best way possible. And we're looking back now, and we even talked about it this morning, how much we lived out the things that we talked about. We was talking about it the other night, how much I still have letters that my husband wrote to me when he was in the military, and I can go to those letters and tell you this happened. We did this. We did travel the world together. We're still traveling the world, not during the pandemic, but we still traveling the world.
And let's do this, because we're talking about, then we're gonna make it all come together in a really good scenario. So we talked a little bit about problem solving. We talked a little bit about purpose seeking. Now I want to talk about promise keeping and how that play a part, because you just said something with the letter. In the letter, that was promises. That was promises. I say, babe, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do this. So here it is: problem solving, purpose seeking, promise keeping. Let's talk about it.
Right. And like I said, in those letters, we both did that. I made promises to him. I told him what I would contribute to the relationship. I told him who I would be in the relationship. I told him how I would treat him in the relationship. I told him how he could trust me. Exactly. I told him how he could trust me, how he could depend on me, how he could count on me, how I would be there for him no matter what. And I keep that promise today.
Absolutely.
And even if I go back and look at the letters, he promised me that he would take care of me. He promised me that he would protect me. He promised me that we would travel the world. He promised me that he would never hurt me. And we are 22 years in, and we see these promises coming to fruition. So we always talk about this. You may hear us say this a million times. What makes it work? Why has our relationship been good? What makes it continue to get better? And it's because of these 3 cycles. It's like a permanent press. Our relationship constantly goes through these cycles of problem solving. So as we grow and as we transition, we're not solving the problem for, oh, now you're not alone, because we haven't been alone for 22 years.
We saw that problem 22 years ago.
Exactly. So now we're solving the problems of, what do we do next? What do we accomplish next? How do we help other people? Now we're solving problems like, what are we going to do to be better next year than we are this year?
This is what I want to do. Mac, this is so awesome. And actually, even through conversation, man, it's bringing out more revelation. I want us to walk through our life.
Okay.
I want us to walk through our life. I mean, we're talking 22 years, so we can't go detail.
Not all of it.
But we're going to walk through our life. So here it is. Here it is. At 16 years old.
Yes.
16 years old, that's when we were talking. And that's when we were falling in love.
Yes.
You know, we're on the phone talking. So we're dealing with in the problem solving situation, right? And within the problem solving, we started looking at, purpose seeking, like, what do we want out of life? What do we want out of life? And then after we start talking about what we want out of life, then you would chime in and say, babe, you know what? I'm gonna do this. And then I say, I'm going to do this. So now we're promise keeping. So here it is. That happens. And now we get married. So we get married and things are changing. So it's like, okay, this thing is real. This thing is real. I made these, I promise, and we've seen purposes and all these different things. So it's like, okay, what's the next step? What's the next step? I joined the military. I joined the military to fix a money problem.
Another problem.
Because when we both got married, When we got married, listen to me. When we got married, we were both broke.
Broke.
When we got married, we didn't have anything. We didn't have no home. We didn't.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't really have a car. We didn't have nothing.
Yes.
Yeah, the car I had was broke down. The car you had was broke down. We didn't have anything. We was relying on people. We was relying on family members. And you know what? I'm looking back on hindsight. I thank those family members for being there, because if it wasn't for them to show up when they did, I mean,
life could be a whole lot different for us.
Yeah. So I mean, those family members, the pillars that held us up, that prepared us, that got us ready, even for transitioning to the military. So here it is. So the problem was finance. So we get in the military, and so now, you know, purpose seeking. You know, my whole thing back then was, man, I'm serving my country. You know, I'm going to fight for my country. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And we saw, you know, the promise keeping. You know, here we are now. We're traveling a little bit and all these different things. And so it gets to the point. I'm gonna let you chime in, or you chime in when you want to, because I'm just going through that. I'm just going through.
Well, the other purpose was to live a different life, to get away, to live different. The purpose of we talked about going to school through the military. Like the military would afford the opportunity to go to school to better and further education. It would give us life experiences that we wouldn't have if we just stayed in Houston and started a job. So the military was also, that was a step that was solving other problems.
Right. And this is the thing. And I'm not trying to knock the government or anything, but these here are some things. I remember when I was in the military prior, you know, I had a recruiter, and the recruiter trying to solve some problems. But once the promise keeping, once I got in the military, I realized some of the promises that was given to me wasn't going to solve the problem and fulfill the purpose. So we had to, I mean, this is true. This is real stuff. So it kind of, the whole time, if the cycle is
so that put us in transition at that time. So we transitioned from you being in the military, we transitioned back to civilian life, and we returned to Houston. And we returned to Houston because now we are equipped. Now we understand that we can have more, we can be more, we can do more, we can live on purpose and continue to solve problems, and we can continue to keep our promises to each other right here in Houston. We don't have to stay away for that to happen. But even though we went away, we didn't stay away. We came back and we still did the same thing. We continue to, this cycle continue. We continue to solve problems with each other, with each other. We continue to seek purpose with each other. We continued each and every year. I remember something, and we didn't have a name for any of this then. Those that are listening now, you're getting the benefit of having something to connect this to, having something to call it. We didn't have a name for it. We just did it. We didn't have a name for it. We just did it. Every year we would sit down with a book they gave my husband in the military. Every year we would sit down with dreams and ideas. What are we going to do this year that we didn't do last year? What are we going to do to be better this year than we didn't do last year? How are we going to grow? And we didn't call it any of that. We were just like, okay, so what is this year going to look like for us? The goal was for each year to be better than the year before. Now, as we continue to grow and as we continue to seek purpose, and we began to live on purpose, then those conversations change. So now we're solving a whole nother set of problems. Now we're connecting in a whole different way. Now we're growing in a whole nother way. And now we have a whole nother set of promises to keep, because now we're living this life and we are saying that now God is first.
Now it's kingdom.
Yeah. Now we're saying that God is first, and the things that we want to accomplish, the things that we want to do is next.
Man, this is so crazy.
Yeah.
Because it started out about me and you.
Me and you.
But now people are involved.
Yes.
I mean, people in ministry, people in the businesses, people are involved. Oh my God.
Yes.
So I mean, the problem is steady changing, solving the problem, seeking the purpose is changing. The promise keeping is changing. It's more at stake. It's people that believe in us, believe in what we're doing.
Other people's purposes connected to us fulfilling our purpose. There's other people's purposes connected to my purpose. So if I don't thread my thread, they can't thread their thread to live their purpose. I live my purpose, which allows them to live their purpose. And then they live their purpose, which allows someone else to live their purpose. And it is just mind blowing, because as we continue to think about the cycle of how God has taken our lives, the cycles of our lives, problem solving, purpose seeking, promise keeping, as we continue to think about these cycles, even right now as we speak to you, God has continued to reveal to us about the things that he's called for us to do. So then when our marriage became more kingdom agenda, it went from solving a problem just for us, from seeking purpose just for us, to keeping promises just to us. Now it's solving the problem of changing marriages for the kingdom. Now it's seeking purpose for marriages being better and families being better for the kingdom. Now it's keeping the promise to God that everything that you gave to us will give back to you for the purpose and the glory of your kingdom. Now it's keeping the promise to God that everything you gave us, we will use to help someone else. Now it's keeping a whole nother set of promises. And now it's beyond just us traveling the world. Now it's beyond you buying me a home. Now it's beyond me having to worry about.
It's beyond the money.
Yes, it is.
It's beyond all that.
Yes, it is, like, because now the cycle continues.
Because of the cycle.
Good cycle.
Yes, because of the cycle, we have a great relationship. Our finance is great. Our credit is great. Investments is great. The ministry is great. The business is great. And so now, even with that, with kingdom, it's like those problems. Now, it's like, okay, God has done all this for us.
Come on.
Now, there's a problem solving and pouring back into people. So now the purpose seeking has changed. Now the purpose is not even about us anymore. It's we're more focused on seeking for others to have better relationships.
Yes.
For others to have better finance.
Yes.
For others to be better leaders.
Yes.
For others to be better entrepreneurs.
Yes.
For others to be better investors.
Yes.
So everything has changed from us to others. But again, it's still the three: problem solving, purpose seeking, promise keeping.
Yes.
The promise is not to the people that I'm serving. The promise is to God that because he has given this to me, but now it's at the point now where it's not about me. And the promise, here it is. And this is totally honest. And now, 22 years ago, it's promises I made to you. Now, because I'm thinking kingdom marriage now, now it's not even about listen, it's not even about you anymore. It's like I'm not even doing this for you. I'm serving as a husband to you, but I'm doing it unto God.
Unto God.
As a father, I am doing it unto God.
Yeah.
As a pastor, I am doing it unto God. As a business owner, I am doing it unto God.
Yes. Everything.
Serving people, coaching marriages, I'm doing it as I'm doing it unto God. What God has done for us, man, I want God to do it for my friends.
Yes.
I want God to do it for my
everyone
neighbors.
Listening
I want God to do it for my Facebook family, for my Instagram family.
And honoring God. And it's like, God, you gave us this for a reason. You've given us everything that we've had. You allow us to live the life that we live every day for a reason. So now what do? We reach back and we help others. We reach down and we help others. We reach out and we help others because it's everything in our lives is bigger than just the two of us. Now, back in 1998, it was the two of us. That was the focus. For so many years, that was the focus because that's where we were. But as this cycle continues, a good cycle, we're not talking about, the cycles of bad behavior. We're talking about the cycles of problem solving, purpose seeking, promise keeping. As those things continued and as we transitioned, year after year after year, we transitioned and didn't even know it. Year after year after year, we grew. Year after year after year, we changed. Year after year after year, we solved problems. Year after year after year, we sought purpose. Year after year after year, we kept promises. And now we are keeping the promise to God that we won't just hold all this that you've given us. We won't just live this this life and be happy, the two of us, and to be content where we are. We want our brothers and sisters. That's everybody. That's every male, every female is our brothers and sisters. Everyone. We want the world to experience what we have. We want the world to experience what you have given us. We want the world to believe, to know, to live that it is possible. It's possible for us to have productive, good relationships. It's possible for us to live together. It's possible for us to be something for each other. It's possible for us to have together. It's possible for us to do together. It's possible for us to grow together. It's possible for us to be together. We don't have to sit back and watch the enemy tear things from our hands. We don't have to sit back and watch the enemy continue to break up families. We don't have to sit back and watch the enemy continue to do what he's tried to do for years to break down the sanctity of marriage and family. We don't have to sit by and be watchers of that. We are using what God has given us to share with the world to help save one marriage, 2 marriages, 10 marriages, 10, 15, 20, all who will listen, apply, and do the work and put God put God first, listen, watch, and do the work. You can have it too. He can dwell in you. You can move forward. And now you'll be problem solving, purpose seeking, promise keeping to him. And you'll be helping the next marriage, iron sharpening iron. You being his hand and feet in the earth realm to help change the D word no longer existing. Divorce, the D word, no longer existing. Marriages ending, Christian marriages falling apart, no longer. Families being torn apart by things that are so small, no longer. Even the things that are big and that have been horrible and tragic, getting through that too. Wow, God is good. And we are thankful to him for these constant cycles in our marriage of problem solving, purpose seeking, and promise keeping. We want to thank you for joining us today on the Marriage Coach Podcast. If you enjoyed the information that you heard on today, we want to invite you to subscribe. If you're listening or watching on YouTube, we ask that you will give us a big thumbs up and click the notification button so that you will be notified every time we upload a video. If you're listening on iTunes, we ask that you will rate the podcast, leave a review, and help us get the word out. We also want to invite you to head on over to our Lead to Greatness podcast, where you will learn information on leadership and entrepreneurship.
So we want to thank you so much for joining us today on the Marriage Coach Podcast. Looking forward to hanging out with you again on next week as we continue to help you take your relationship from surviving to thriving. Bye. See you next week.